So far, Benjamin, this is the best interview I've done. It is, because it keeps me on my toes, right? So everything should not be just like, everything is regimented. So it tests how the ability of, how we continue from things not working out the way it is. That's
I'm
right.
so sorry. So
Sorry.
sorry.
Don't be sorry. So let's continue. Let's summarize what you do first, and then I would like for you to come back to the question that I posed before the connection.
Yeah. All right. So to summarize a bit, we are basically helping restaurants, hotels, canteens, and now as well we have different, I would say, more government partners to implement food waste prevention solutions in their operation. Those solutions are mixing, I would say, capacity building and technology. So we can help our partners to better understand the issue so they can address it. So in a very condensed way, this is what we do. So that's why I said that we call ourselves like food waste hackers. We are trying to I would say hack existing systems in a way that they will still perform as well, if not better than before, while having a lower environmental and social impact.
Okay. So far you are moving forward and people are more convinced about this because there's a proven track record, right?
Right. You're right, and that's why I was laughing initially when you said, so was it easy? It was so tough. It was so tough, and it was so long. I didn't expect it to be so long. I think I would have dropped it if I knew, and that's I think a good lesson for other entrepreneur or future entrepreneur is like, don't try to look too much for the end of the tunnel because you don't know how long the tunnel is. So it has been long and tough, and you were asking why. So there are several reasons, and the main reason why initially was resistance. Well, resistance to change. It's like you have someone that comes in. You've been running your business for forever, based on the same, key performance indicator, which are primarily like how much money do you generate and your profitability. And then suddenly comes this dude that says, hey, you haven't looked at this, and this issue is costing you 6 to 10% of your yearly revenue. And every day, what is he talking about, and why should we care? And our standard way to report our performance are this, and that, not those new indicators. Plus, the pressure from the consumer is not that high. So why should we adjust? And this is a bit how it has been initially perceived, as an annoyance and somehow a wish that this information wasn't there, because it's easier when you don't know that you have an issue.
Right. So how do you tackle that? How do you see it? Like now, it's been 10 years. Do you see you learn new ways how to tackle it? Do you go to the top instead of because I read or I heard one of your interviews is that the people that are the staff are the ones that is enthusiastic of learning new stuff and to try something new. It's only the people that is in the middle that does not, change is very difficult for most people, right?
Change is very difficult. Change is, and this is, I would say we do 70% of our work is around psychology, and 30% is about technical aspects related to the operation. Almost 70-30. It's crazy. And first is, and this is really what took us so long initially, is to build trust. To build trust from our partners that we know what we are talking about. We are extremely professional in our approach and diligent in the way we are collecting data, so we can report and provide guidance on how to address that issue. But yeah, this process took a long time because there are very few organizations that go as deep as we do in this topic. And I would say from multiple angles. So when I mean multiple angle is the fact that there are quite a few players on this food waste issue, but they are usually focusing on the technology aspect, by having ongoing, let's say, smart skills. We are combining our own technology, but with a human-centered approach, which means change management. If you don't have change management, there is no magic wand, and then suddenly from one day to the next, things are going great. So that's where the past experience, including with the ILO, with this, how do you get the buy-in from employees? How do you inspire them and get them on board? And then how do you define roles and responsibilities for different levels of the organization? Have been essential in being able to implement, I would say, programs that are more comprehensive. So it took time, and I would say, yeah, trust and case studies to prove the fact that there is a lot of money to be saved. Were essential in helping us to finally, I would say, acquire our reputation and reaching out to higher levels.
So walk me through it. Like, for example, if I, own a hotel, you come to me and I'm a chef or whatever. How does that process work? I mean, break it down for people that trying to understand.
Yeah. Okay. So in a very, very simple way, I would say, well, what is important is to look at the hotel as a system, and food is just something that comes in and that is converted in out being cash. And however, what is not tracked is what is lost in the moment it is purchased and arrives at the back of house and the moment it is sold. So we are helping organizations to have a system that will answer the key question from the moment the food is purchased to the moment the food is sold, but what is happening in between? Mm-hmm. And what is happening so how much food is wasted? When is it happening? You have different moments during the day or different day of the week or different seasons. Where is it happening? There are multiple locations where food is either stored or transformed. So if you are a hotel, you have, let's say, I don't know, 200 rooms, you have 2 restaurants, 1 all-day dining, 1 fine dining. You probably have a canteen. So that means you already have 3 different locations. You have probably a production kitchen, which is producing for all of them downstairs, so that's 4. And then you probably have as well like banqueting. So that means that there are several locations where food is either stored or transformed, meaning that potentially as well lost. So we will ensure that we have a system that can capture this food waste, and we will train the team from the different location we will identify as being recording points. And we'll train the team to define who is doing what and how do they record that food waste. So we can extract this information, go back to the management and say, okay, this is your current situation. Those are the recommendations that we give you in order to minimize food waste at that location, because we already know how much, when, where, what, and why. And with those answers, we can provide a practical recommendation and then track how we having an impact or not.
Oh, okay, now I get it. So you are like the private investigators. So you investigate and then you come with a solution to okay, I get it now.
Right. And the solution is it is essential that the solution is not just an audit. You know, if it was just an audit, you come in, you take a measurement, you give the result, you're out. Part of the solution beside the audit for us is not really an audit, because it's the beginning of the journey. Because it's not like when we leave, they stop monitoring food waste. What is fundamental is that they keep on recording this food waste, so it becomes part of their habits, the same way they are learning to deep clean the kitchen, for instance. So it has to become part of a daily routine. And that's why I don't call it an audit. However, knowing that they don't know what is their starting point, they don't know what is their baseline. This is what we help to establish at the beginning. So to know what is your starting point, and then this will be your reference point, and then moving forward, we're going to look at how much are things progressing. Are we reducing the amount of food waste, or is it getting worse? So then we can adjust as well, depending on the figures that we collect.
So I take it you are being well loved by the owners of the hotels, or the restaurants.
Yes, when the information managed to go all the way up to the owners, and that's one of the challenging times, because as you know, like the fact that you have sometimes the managing companies and then the owners, and then you have those on site, the operation, they report to board, and that can sometimes be challenging because you don't want to step on anyone's toes, but at the same time, while you have clear information and data, that means that someone is losing a lot of money. And then we are, yeah, so it's sometimes a bit tricky.
Yeah, I think it's always tricky when you want to do the right thing, and there are flaws in the system. And whenever there's flaws in system, there's a lot of politics that goes on in any other business. But to me, there's a bigger picture to this. What you are trying to do is not just save money, which is great. Everybody wants to save money, but there's a lot of environmental help also that comes along the way with this. Food wastage is such a shame. There's, like, to me personally, you know, there's so many people that don't have food. And then just to go and see restaurants and hotels or wherever, even home, where we just throw food, it really hurts my feelings. I think we had a conversation about this when I was growing up. I was forced to finish our food, which was not many food anyway, right? So I think this brings a lot of, it hits home. Before you came on, there was a viewer that says that the new generations don't appreciate foods like we do. But your staff are all millennials, if I'm not mistaken. Am I correct?
Yes.
So
yes, that's right.
Do you think that now, you know, with this information, your staff is part of a big organization and big movement that will, I hope, will change the way things that didn't work anymore, doesn't work anymore for us?
Yeah, no, for sure. There is it's interesting. There was one of the comments as well of one of our participants who we are running like full course on food waste prevention with different modules, and one of the participants she is from Australia, and she was saying is extremely surprising because millennials are indeed the most, I would say, proactive when it comes to climate change, the most aware of it, the most involved. However, food waste still is kind of the disconnected issue, even though it is entirely part of climate change. But there are still, I think I saw some figures recently, I think there's still like 65 or 70% of people that still don't see the link between food waste and climate change. So there's a huge work to be done in terms of raising awareness and getting people to see that you waste food, you waste all the resources that were put into growing that food, being whatever, an apple. From the moment you sow the seed, all the land that is used, fertilizer, water, manpower, energy, to grow that apple, and then to harvest it, to transport it, to store it, then to transport it again before it is being sold, and then being whatever transported, transformed, if it is like, let's say, an apple pie. But people don't see it that way. It's just like they take it for granted. There has been this huge disconnection, and I think that's a byproduct of the 80s and 90s with the ultra liberal sort of policies, where it's all about the market. So we take it for granted that food is a commodity that must be abundant, and this huge disconnect between the resources and the end product. So this is a big problem.
Yeah, I think that you know, like, when I went and when I did my show, I traveled and I went to the plantation, and you begin to understand when you get involved in it. But the new generation never gets to be, you know, I remember looking after my own chicken to get eggs, all that, the process, you understand it. But nowadays, you just go to the supermarket, pick it up, an apple, and you don't understand the whole entire process. But the positive side is that, you know, they are more involved, they are more caring, they are not so much into wastage. But food-wise, I see, you're right, I see them, that there is almost a disconnect, like you said, about food wastage. And maybe, you know, you will change the way they think, and most of us, the way we think. And what I think what you're doing is fantastic, because the way you break it down is talking to me where I need to understand it. You know, breaking it down to like an apple, where it comes from, you know, the soil and the transportation. People need to understand, you know, the breakdown of it, to be involved.
Yeah, no, 100%. And this is you know, that's why when I said like it's 70% of psychology and 30% of technical aspect. We are constantly trying to define how can we explain things in a much simpler way, and over the years, you know, like constantly doing new presentation, trying to find new angles, but always how can you break it down to the essence, so visually, because people mainly understand like visual cues and signals more than what they hear, and we try to always identify the right way to communicate the message, because as we said, even like when we are working with hotels or restaurants in Thailand, for instance, we are working with people that are most of the time non-educated or has very little education. Some of them are not even literate. It happens depending on the location. So you have to explain very clearly and simply why is this an issue that they should help us address. And then B, what is expected from them, and what is expected shouldn't be complicated. It has to be clearly explained and clearly color-coded, and with simple procedures to ensure that they can do it. But to come back to what you were saying, I think where we are, we started really like, you know, B2B, business to business, and trying to get the industry to change their perspective and change reduce their overall impact. I think there is still a lot of work, and would love to find ways, as we do today, to be able to reach out to a broader audience and get consumers to realize that they have a power to make things happen. You don't have to be Greenpeace or become a tree hugger. You just need to be aware. The way you spend your money has a massive impact. And to me, like, this is, people understand that they have been put in a box as they are consumers, but highly bombarded with marketing, you know, campaigns and all. But if they manage to detach a bit themselves from this and realize, okay, do I want to make the right choice? Then voting with their wallet is extremely powerful.
Yes, I think you're also changing mindset in a sense that you are teaching people to consume what they need and not what they want all the time. I think that's the biggest impact, what you're trying to do, because we all want a lot of things, but do we need it? You know, that's a challenge. That's a real challenge. We had some interesting experiences, or I would say opportunities. For instance, we run sometimes some campaigns that we call clean your plate campaigns in the let's say at the canteen. I think what is extremely nice is when we run those campaigns at the canteen with all the employees, because that's the moment where they are connecting with food. And we are trying as much as possible to make sure that there is this emotional connection between the topic and what is expected from them. So food waste and them as individual. Because everybody has an emotional connection, good or bad, with food. Mm-hmm. Some it because they're concerned about their health or whatever. Some are completely foodies and would live and die by it.
But anyway, everybody has that connection. And when we run those campaigns, sometimes we had a chance to do it with some external parties. So, for instance, we had in the past a campaign with a beauty pageant. She was a contestant to Miss Universe Thailand, and she was, as a contestant, she had to run some campaign about related to social environmental issues. And by bringing this sort of people that has a lot of I would say influence and connections, helps to spread the word and getting a much larger impact, because now when we work mainly B2B, we are kind of limited to this context, and I think that we are trying to find ways to broaden the impact.
You sound very passionate about this. I take it you have fallen in love with your cause. Otherwise, you won't be in this business, right? How do you maintain physically? Because it's a lot of talk, it's a lot of convincing, it's a lot of mental, strength. How do you keep yourself fit in body first?
Sport, for sure. Not enough, not as much as I wish, but sport, yeah. I would say decent diet. I'm really not an example, but I would say I cut on meat pretty drastically over the past few years. And as I'm still 22, I'm still, in my prime.
Oh, God.
No, it's sport for sure, for the stamina, for the drive as well. So yeah, less meat, that's for sure. Bit less smoking as well. I'm not a chain smoker, but sometimes. And sport as often as possible, but intense, something quite. I'm more into collective sport, like team sports, and that really helps. And especially in climate like where you are in Singapore, here in Thailand, when we play outdoor 2 hours football at 35 degrees with 70% humidity, it is intense.
It is very intense. So what do you do for your mind, though? Because this is a lot of psychology. Like you say, 70% of what you do is 70% is psychology. So how do you rest your mind at the end of the day?
Oh no, I'm waiting at the end of the week to rest my mind. No, there is no break until Friday evening. Which is now sometimes I'm telling myself, yes, that I should slow down. Yeah, luckily, as you said, I really fell in love with the topic, and that really helped me, because it became de facto a mission. It's not something that one day I realized, okay, I'm gonna fix that issue all by myself. It's just it grew from first, when I first got into it was, it's shocking, it's weird, but at the same time it's intriguing. And then it became something like, this is absolutely ridiculous. This is nonsense. We are dumb to act this way and to accept it once you have the information. If you don't know, well, you can still use that excuse. Once you know and you still don't act on it, you're bluntly stupid, or you are simply like careless and driven only by your financial, but own, I would say not even financial, but own direct interest, and you have no consideration whatsoever for whoever is around you. And I think it's more from a philosophical standpoint, is about caring for something that is much bigger and more important than your own little self. And this is the path. This is the way that was never planned. It was never. I didn't sit down one day saying, I'm going to be a food waste hacker. I'm going to set up a company. I didn't know I would set up a company. That's how it started. I didn't even know I would work on sustainability. It happened. Everything happened at some certain moment in my life that pushed me in that direction, and And then, of course, unconsciously, those choices were driven by values and intentions. But yeah, the same way Light Blue was. I didn't never sit down and said, okay, I need a business plan. I need to do this and that and that. What is the market? And no, started looking at this issue, started to find what can we do to address it, and then later on, okay, well, now how do we sell it? How do we make money out of this?
Right.
That was
right. So when was that aha moment for you that everything changed for you? You said that, you gave a very good example, if you don't know it, it's okay. But then you realize it and it's stupid. So when was that point that everything hit for you?
It's I can't think of one specific moment. I think it was an accumulation. It's really like incremental sort of changes of perspective that really like got me from, as I mentioned, intrigued and then just a bit like uncomfortable to completely I would say, yeah, disgust almost by this issue. And I think it comes to, we spend now since the beginning, I think I spend more than I don't know, several thousands of hours at the back of house. And when we are the back of house of hotels, it's literally like, tracking the food until the moment it is actually disposed in the right bin. And you qualify this food waste. So I've seen like, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of tons of food ending up in the bin. And at the beginning you're like, oh, that's shocking. And then you see more and more and more. And then this throughout the years. And then you go at the end of the day when they're accumulating all this food waste to be picked up either by Pig Farm or by the municipality. And you see those huge barrels that weigh like 80 kilos, 100 kilos each. And you see that it's tons and tons. Sometimes per location that goes beyond a ton per day, and you're like, this is insane. And so you see as well, like those locals that come and pick it up, and that would, with their bare hands, go into that food that has been starting to rot at the back of house. In trying to pick up like the plastic or the toothpicks to avoid, because they're gonna feed their pigs, and to avoid that they're gonna kill their pigs because people are just careless and they put all the stuff that is mixed with the food waste. And those guys doing this at 12 midnight, 1 a.m. with their hands to ensure that they could feed their pigs and try to make a living. And this huge disconnect with this super luxury hotels behind and people that don't care, which I think those moments have been like, kind of every time it raises the bar in terms of being completely, yes, shocked and cannot accept it.
Wow, very good answer. Spirituality, what does that mean to you?
It means to me, I would say awareness. Awareness that we are insignificant once you start looking around. Once you start really like zooming out and looking at things from much, I would say, a higher altitude. And when you look at time as well, like where we are now, we're just nothing. And that's to me, spirituality is linked to philosophy. Yeah, my own philosophy and my own understanding of where we evolve and basically where are we going. So I am not religious. I'm not even like doing any. I think I do my own meditation in different ways. But spirituality to me is to be able to understand who we are compared to everything that is around us, from plants to animals to all the planet and beyond, I would say.
Where would you like to see yourself in a couple of years? I won't say 5 years is too long. You don't even know 2020 or something like this happen. Where would you like to see yourself physically with the company and spiritually as a person?
I would say, well, I've been told you were asking how do you stay mentally fit, and I think I've been utilizing a lot of this stamina. You know, it's not unlimited. Even though I think my level of resilience is it's pretty high. Why am I saying this? Because I am I'm getting tired of running a business in a region where the topic I would put Singapore a bit aside, but all the other countries I'm feeling that I am banging my head against walls because there is the official policy and then there is the practice, and this gap becomes unbearable because we keep on trying and trying to say, hey guys, we have the knowledge, we have the tools, the methodology, we can help to fix those issues at a much larger scale instead of having us to go door to door, and the response is very weak. So I'm thinking of we would, of course, this is our regional, I would say, headquarter. I think that we have great opportunities in the region, Singapore clearly. So Singapore, we have currently one of our partners, which is the Grand Hyatt in Singapore, that we work on this topic. Curtis, fantastic guy, and we are about potentially to get working with Republic Polytechnic, which is one of the government university, who wanted to train their lecturers first on the topic of food waste before potentially integrating this sort of topic for their students. And this is as well maybe linking to your first question, where we see ourselves sharing all the knowledge we have been accumulating to especially the young generation and ideally the decision makers. If we can reach out to both, that would be great. Is where I see as well Light Blue going, because we can have a much broader impact. But that will be a bit that will be looking more at 5 years time, by the time those that are educated become part of the workforce. But Singapore and Europe. In Europe, I see Europe is moving. I would say is establishing their policy and their objective when it comes to sustainability, and it's very strong. And I'm feeling like going back a bit closer to my roots and see how faster things could go over there.
Okay, I think that Asia will take a little bit more time, because for us, we come from the village. We are farmers. What, 30, 40 years ago, even in Singapore, right? 50 years ago, and we are caught up with everything in technology, everything new, everything modern. So we are so in love with being modern, we've forgotten sustainability. That's where we come from, right? It's reconvincing ourselves without making too much, what do you call it? It's a scary word. Sustainability is very scary for most people. But especially Asians, we know that that's where we come from. We were fishermen, we were farmers, we eat what we can, we take the vegetable from our farm and cook it, because we don't have much money. But I think it's just reminding us and re-educating us and showing us to look at our values once more. And you're doing it a great job, because I think the way you do it is not just technology wise, you are incorporating humans. The human relationship is the most important. And I know that now with COVID, everybody's using technology to connect, but still it beats human connection. People are dying for 2 months staying home without the connection with other people. I really think that you are moving in the right direction. Just hang in there. It takes a bit of time. With your passion and your beliefs, you will take off. Just give us a little bit of time. I know time is ticking, but we just need to listen. Most of the time we don't listen. We just have our own ideas of what sustainability is or whatever life is. So the other thing that I want to ask you is, if we were to take away your role of your job, you know, who you are, you know, I mean, so your role, yes, your boss, you are the boss, you are the thinker. What is your core value?
My core values in general, right? As a person, I would say I am trying to avoid as much as possible to hurt people. I think that's one of the core value. I'm trying as hard as I can to be honest with myself, so I can be honest with the other people, and this is always one of the top. And to try to be as direct as possible without hurting. So that's where one of the challenges. I believe in integrity as well. I think that if people were more had higher moral values especially at the decision-making level, things would get much better when it comes to utilizing public funds or voting for certain laws or influencing, deciding on certain policies if you are big corporate groups. Values, if moral values were ethic in general was higher on the agenda, things would go so much better. That's something I strongly believe. So yeah, I would probably summarize in those few words.
Oh, that's so sweet, Benjamin. I really appreciate that summary, because I think by speaking to you in depth today, I get to know you a lot better, much more. I feel your passion of what you believe in, and it's a wonderful way to start the new life that we are trying to recreate again, especially with the COVID-19. It's a great reminder of teaching us what is important, and you know, the value of us, I think. So we don't have much time. I would like you to close the show for people. What would you like people to learn from what you're doing and have an impact? And you know, any information that you can give to get them started in small dosages would be a great start.
My message, I guess my key message is everybody can do something about it as long as they decide to. I think there is way too many people that are just passive, pretending that or hiding behind the fact that they may not be working in a specific industry that is strong on the, let's say, the topic of sustainability. I think either being at home or at your workplace, if you start thinking a bit about everything you do, either during your daytime when you're at the office or when you go back home, you can already start to do some change. As I mentioned earlier, to me, first thing I would recommend people to do is to start watching videos on sustainability. Something very simple, because you will get this first, I would say, basic knowledge to understand what is at stake. It's not just again a group of hippies that trying to sell you, you know, clothes made of hemp. We're looking at global issues that will have devastating consequences on all of our life and our civilization. If this is not clear, people still love to, you know, to sit back and wait for the others to act. So I think this is it's a very popular quote. Can't remember from whom, but indeed the biggest threat is to believe that someone else is going to try to solve global issues instead of ourselves. We all can act. So first, awareness for sure. Be curious, start looking. So food waste for us became our big thing, but it doesn't have to be. It could be plastic. That could be, you know, that could be local sourcing of whatever. That could be in the fashion industry. That could be technology for zero carbon buildings if you're more into engineering. That could be, you know, the all the evolution on electrical vehicle, etc. Start with looking around, getting a better understanding, and then having those moments where you are doing some sort of self assessment or self review of what is my lifestyle. Is my lifestyle aligned with what I think should be a responsible lifestyle? And this is tough because we haven't been brought up that way. We have been brought up as be successful, earn as much money as you can, and you fly wherever you want to go, eat as much as you want, etc., etc. But it's a paradigm shift that we should accept and start embed into our daily lives.
Fantastic closure. Thank you so much. I know that this is not going to be the last time we speak, and I thank you for all the knowledge, for you to spend your afternoon with me and teaching me what your actual mission is through your company. And I wish you all the success. And to me, you are one of the person that represents mind, body, spirit intact, fit in mind, body, spirit. And we will speak again.
Thank you so much, Laila. Thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate it.
Same here. I'll speak to you soon. Thank you, Benjamin.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.